Larry Ward here. The Earth Gate is an interweaving of several different disciplines and practices. They are all based and rooted in the four foundations of mindfulness, as we know them in English. In Pali, it is a satipatthana, and that means the direct path to realization. So I want to review a little bit of the four foundations, and of course in Buddhism, as usual, there are several versions of this. All four still be the same, but there's in the fourth one there's some variations, and you're free to do the research and see what might be most helpful for you. But I'm going to use four that I'm most familiar with practicing and share this with you. So first, a recap on mindfulness. Mindfulness has three qualities. It has the quality of depth, awareness, and attention. It has secondarily a quality of intention, the intention to be alert, the intention to be awake, so that when our mind wanders from where we were going to put our attention, we become conscious of that, or that's meta awareness, and we are able to consciously bring our attention back to its object of our observation, or looking, or experiencing. And the third is clear comprehension. Mindfulness is not a practice simply to practice it. It also has within it the invitation to clearly see and feel and understand what your experience is, your lived experience of being human in the moment. And these four foundations are four ways or means of practicing to become skillful in your awareness, in your meta-awareness, and in your clear comprehension of your experience of four things. The experience of the body, the experience of feelings, as feeling is understood in Buddhism, the experience of the mind, and the experience of the contents of your mind. So I'll quickly go through those. The other thing I want to say is every part of the Earth Gate, every meditation, every exercise, everything we do, you will find reflected here in the four foundations of mindfulness. Now, many of you are already familiar with mindfulness of breathing. I'll get to that because that is the first section of the mindfulness of the body, contemplating mindfulness of the body. The Anapanasati Sutta, mindfulness of breathing, is how you begin to enter into your contemplation of the body. Because the breath is there. The breath is not contrived. It is a natural, lived occurrence. And so it has been learned that that's the best way, easiest vehicle in which to begin to bring awareness to the body and the mind, intention to the body and the mind, and clear comprehension of our lived experience. First is mindfulness of the body, which is really what the Earth Gate is focusing on. The physicalness of the body, the breathing, are all parts of this. The cemetery meditations, which has been recorded already for you and is there. The impermanence meditation is another way to say that. The reason the breath is also first in terms of mindfulness of breathing is it's been experienced that the other meditations become easier if one is stabilized in the body. So being able to recognize, experience, and work with our feelings of neutral, pleasant, and unpleasant becomes simpler and easier to experience, to recognize, and to interact with if the body is stable and calm. And the breath is the first way and the easiest way to bring the body into calm and stability so it can go to the next level. So feelings. A lot of I've said already in this course on the body. I want to move on to feelings. In Buddhism, there's three types of feelings, and feelings here are not the same thing as emotions. I just want to say emotions run through all four foundations, just so that's not confusing. Feelings here means our unconscious reactive response of pleasure, unpleasure, or neutrality of an experience that comes through our sensory world, comes through our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, our body, or our mind. So feelings in Buddhism means our negative or positive or neutral response to any of these 6 stimulations that occur. So when we're working with the nervous system, we are focusing in on the parallel issues of the nervous system in terms of the autonomic aspects of fight, flight, or freeze. We're still developing this mindful sensitivity of what's happening in our body and learning to recognize the pleasant, the unpleasant, and the neutral. Mindfulness of feelings. Some suggest that our biggest challenge as a species is learning how to deal with our feelings, mastering our feelings. And so our practice as we go through the earth gate, things are going to come up for you, I've already mentioned. You may get activated in certain ways. Memories may come up. Feelings will come up and go. And so the practice is to learn to be with that, to be stable in the midst of the comings and goings of our body and mind. The third one I want to mention, third foundation, is mindfulness of mind. And mindfulness of mind here means recognizing whether your mind is distracted, happy, pleased, irritable. I noticed in my mind this morning I was a little irritable with my dog Charlie, because Charlie is getting old. And it seems like every day he's getting older. So his hearing is starting to fade. I'm calling it doggy dementia. I don't mean that in a negative way. It just means he's losing some capacity of whatever dog cognition is. And so contemplating this, seeing this in him, and then remembering that Peggy's in Florida with her mother who's having a very similar experience of the deterioration of the body, I found irritating to be with for a moment. And then I resourced myself and I am fine. The other way to understand mindfulness of mind that a lot of people don't talk about, that I think is very important, is understanding your mood. What mood of mind, so that we recognize our moods when they rise. And we're able to ask ourselves, is this the mood I intend? Is this the mood I want to bring forward into this moment, into this interaction? Is this the mood I want to embody as a habitual pattern in my life? So mindfulness of mind is really looking at how easy our habit patterns get formed that are both mental and emotional combined in one cloud. Might say it that way. So some people have said our mood shapes the world. So really mindfulness of mind is mindfulness, one way of describing it is mindfulness of mood. Also, another description in another sutra of this is recognizing when your mind is expansive and open, and recognizing when your mind is contracted or disassociated or disconnected. Knowing where, there's a great phrase I learned in Thailand and Bangkok, knowing when your heart is wide and being able to recognize when your heart has become narrow. These contrasting states of mind and mood are what mindfulness of mind is all about. And these different moods will occur as we go through this course, just to recognize that dimension of things as well. And the last one, the fourth one, which is most described, which is the one most differently described by different commentaries, though it's the same, if you actually look into details and put it into practice, is mindfulness of the objects of mind. I think this one is So extremely important. Becoming clear of what the content is in your mind. It is like going to your refrigerator, opening the door, and taking a look at what you got on the shelf. And then being able to ask yourself, this is awareness, this is now intention. Is this what I intend to be feeding myself? Is this what I intend to bring out and serve to the world? Contents of our mind. And in Buddhism, the first contents of mind to learn to be with, embrace, work with, heal, and transform are called the 5 hindrances. And these hindrances may come up during this course for you. I'll just mention these. Of course, in Buddhism, there's always more lists. I'll just focus on these because I think it could be helpful as you go through the Earth course. Desire, wishing for things. And then wishing I hadn't wished, and then wishing I had, and then wishing, and then getting, and then wishing I hadn't got. I mean, this experience of being a human being, of deep dissatisfaction at some level, is, and to recognize when that hindrance is up for you. Is it blocking your vision? Is it blocking your insight? Is it blocking your stability of body and mind? To be caught in desire. Desire is good, unless you're caught. The same will apply to all 4. Ill will. My father used to say something to me that I never understood till I was a lot older. He sometimes would say, "Larry, you're vexing me." I finally figured that out. That means you're pissing me off. But he didn't have that language structure. He was a very proper Christian, self-educated man, but self-educated nevertheless and quite well. So knowing when the energies and the seeds and the feelings and the nervous system reacts with the sense of ill will or aversion or I don't want to be with. And that first comes, I don't want to be with myself. Here is the practice. To think this is about someone else. I cannot want to be with someone else without not wanting to be with the feeling I'm having in that moment. So it's never just outside you, is what I'm trying to say. Our experience of being human, our own mind and body always participates in the experience we're having. That's what it means to really own yourself, in the best sense of the word. Ill will, to know what to give priority to. There's a lot of miscommunication in the Buddhist traditions about anger. The practice is not to suppress anger. The practice is to recognize, embrace, look deeply, understand, and to transform that precious energy. Because anger is information. Somebody just ran over your foot. Ouch! That's normal. That's not the issue. The issue is, what do we do with that energy? First of all, we have to accept and receive it as part of what it means to be a human being, as part of our human experience. And learning how to benefit and heal and transform and turn this energy of anger into light, into compassion. But that does not mean suppression or ignoring or bypassing, because any of those don't turn anything into light. The third one is sluggishness is a hindrance, sloth. In Costa Rica many years ago, I got to see a sloth up close for the first time. We were walking through the jungle every day, kind of on the same path, looking at animals and flowers and creatures, and we kept going by this sloth, and every day it looked like it moved a half an inch. But it was working full time. And there are many of us, our lives feel like that we're carrying luggage, that we're carrying weight that is not ours to be carried. And so when you feel like giving up on the practice, giving up on your own healing and transformation, burnout, all these are indications of sluggishness, being worn out, being exhausted. And these are all practices that invite self-care at deeper levels, more time and more space. Next is restlessness. The challenge, the sense of not being able to stop. The Thich Nhat Hanh likes to always talk about running. We wake up running, our mind is running all night, our lives are busy going here and going there, but that's inside of us as well, running and running, restless, unable to feel like we can settle. And it's not settle in a place in the sense of some geography. And first, it is settle in our own body, to be with ourselves. And restlessness is not an easy practice an easy hindrance to overcome, but it is full of energy. So again, learning how to take your restlessness. I was in Plum Village one time at night, 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up, I couldn't sleep, sun went out, and I was practicing walking meditation, and around the little bend comes Thich Nhat Hanh. He's coming toward me. I'm walking towards him, and he comes up to me, we bow, and he says, "Can't sleep, huh?" I said, "No, not right now." He says, "You know what I do when I can't sleep?" I said, "What?" He says, "I write a book." And he walked. So restlessness is not a problem. None of our hindrances are a problem. If we understand they are energy. They are not separate independent cells with concrete blocks around them or cages in which we are trapped. And the last one, and probably the most human one, is doubt. The great hindrance of doubt. Doubt in ourselves, doubt that we are worthy, doubt that we can be healed, doubt that we deserve to be healed, doubt that we deserve to be in touch with the depth of our mind and body, and doubt that will make any difference. The primary characteristic of being a human being is doubt, because we live in a conscious uncertainty of life. And part of our spiritual maturation is not to be intimidated by life's uncertainty, not to be paralyzed from action because we don't know. Because the truth is we never know, and even after we decide we don't know. So that's not a problem. Choose, make your choices, learn, and then choose and make choices. That's all I've actually learned how to do in my life. And then Objects of Mind goes on to suggest here are contents you can add to your consciousness. So when you look at the 7 factors of awakening, for example, it's not a recruitment drive to awaken. It is, here's some content you can put into your consciousness, and you can put it there because it's already there. This is just language to help you wake up to all the energies that are inside of us for wholesomeness and for healing and for transformation and ultimately liberation. I think what's wonderful about the 4 foundations of mindfulness is this clarity on the purpose of the practice, which is to awaken. And it doesn't say what that will mean for you. It says do the practices and see what you awaken to. That's your discovery. And so all we're doing in the Earth Gate is to encourage, stimulate, cultivate our awakening. And that will be different for each one of us. And that's a wonderful thing. Thank you.